शुरू कर दो. Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Panchapakeshan from the University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about the module Absorption and Emission of Light by Atomic Electrons. This is from the paper Radiation Theory. After studying this module, you should be able to understand by learning how the probabilities for absorption and emission of light by electrons in an atoms are calculated. You should be able to understand how the 1 in nk lambda plus 1 corresponds to spontaneous emission and nk lambda corresponds to the induced or stimulated emission part. You should be able to compare the classical and quantum components for radiated energy. You should learn how to evaluate the binding energy of the hydrogen atom in electron volts. You should be also able to calculate in natural units where H cross and C have input equal to 1. In the previous module, we had studied the induced emission, absorption, and spontaneous emission of photons by the non-relativistic electron in a broader sense. We have as far not considered the details of the approximations involved in obtaining transition probabilities per unit time for these processes. We will now study in detail the spontaneous emission process in the dipole approximation. We shall study the other interactions like spin interaction term, the quadrupole and magnetic dipole approximation later on. In studying these processes, we shall see how certain selection rules emerge which allow some transitions and forbid other transitions. Closely related to the transition probability per unit time is the lifetime of the emitted states, and we shall take up an example of the same. We are treating electron non-relativistically, so the kinetic energy of the electron is less than its rest mass. Also, the radiation energy of photons is in the visible range. Thus, we may give some justification in retaining some terms and ignoring others. In the dipole approximation, we expand exponential I k dot x as equal to 1 plus I k vector dot x plus I k vector dot x whole squared by 2 and so on. And we replace it by the first term 1, neglecting the other terms. This is justified as the value of the radius of atom is 10 raised to minus 8 centimeters, while the wavelength of the photons is lambda is in the visible range, that is about 10 raised to minus 5 centimeters. K is 1 by lambda, and so K into capital R, the maximum value of Kx is 10 raised to the power minus 3, which is much less than 1. So the terms in equation 2.1 are successively smaller. I k x vector is equal to 10 raised to the power 5 into 10 raised to the power minus 8, which is equal to 10 raised to the power minus 3, which is much less than 1. On the other hand, if a certain transition is not allowed in dipole approximation due to the selection rules, then we shall include the I k dot x term also, the next higher order term. In section 3, we studied the absorption and emission of light. We studied the spontaneous emission process in the dipole approximation in section 4. We then considered the classical formula for radiated energy of an electron and compare it with the quantum formula. In section 5, we learned to calculate in natural units in which H cross equal to 1 and C equal to 1. These are very useful in quantum field theory. In this module, we talk about the absorption and emission of light. This is, of course, absolutely basic and fundamental process in physics, and the quantum mechanics was applied to this process in the year 1927 with this Dirac theory of radiation. We have now, in the previous discussions, the requisite mechanism to deal with the absorption of photons by non-relativistic atomic electrons. In absorption process, an atom in a state A absorbs the photon of momentum k vector and polarization epsilon lambda vector and goes to state B. Since only one photon is absorbed by the term E squared A vector dot A vector in the interaction term does not contribute, because the E squared A vector dot A vector term has two interactions to take place, either two absorptions or two emissions, or one absorption and one emission. We shall assume that photons of one kind with k vector momentum and epsilon lambda vector polarization are present. If there are nk lambda photons in the initial state, there are nk lambda minus 1 photons in the final state. Thus, nk lambda in the expression for A vector contributes to the matrix element of Hi. Denoting the initial state by A nk lambda and the final state by B nk lambda minus 1. A is for the state of the atom, nk lambda is for the number of photons, and nk lambda minus 1 similarly is the number of photons in the second case. We have from the equation 3.5 of module 6 dropping the A squared term. These are equations 314 and 315 of module 6. We have the matrix element for absorption, namely B nk lambda minus 1 Hi taken with the ket A nk lambda is equal to minus E over m 2 pi 3 by 2 nk lambda by twice omega k into matrix element between B and A of exponential ikx p dot epsilon lambda and the energy exponential minus I omega kt. And for the emission, it is B and nk plus 1 and the kets A and nk lambda, between which the Hi term is taken, and it is equal to minus E by m 2 pi 3 by 2 nk lambda plus 1 over 2 omega k square root, and the matrix element between B and A of exponential minus ikx p dot epsilon lambda into exponential plus I omega kt. The transition probability per unit time for large time is given by the golden rule as the omega, or the transition probability for absorption, omega absorption as it is called. Please don't confuse this omega with the energy omega. This omega refers to the transition probability, and we'll always put a subscript below that, like absorption or something like that. It is not related to the other omega in the picture. So the transition probability of absorption omega apps is equal to 2 pi into exponential 2 into nk lambda into matrix element between B and A of p dot epsilon lambda exponential iks mod squared divided by 2 pi cubed m squared 2 omega rho omega. The E squared comes because there are two matrix elements, each one with a coefficient of electronics charge E. Thus, the probability of absorption of photon with a given momentum k and polarization epsilon lambda using 3.1 is given by transition probability of absorption is equal to nk lambda into E squared, matrix element between B and A of p dot epsilon into exponential ikx into omega squared d small omega into d capital omega. D small omega is for the energy and the d capital omega is for the theta phi angles in the phase space, divided by 8 pi squared m squared omega, or omega transition probability for the B state plus a photon going to the E state, which is the absorption process, is given by E squared nk lambda omega divided by 8 pi squared by m squared, matrix element between B and A of p vector dot epsilon lambda vector into exponential I k dot x, whole thing squared into d capital omega. For emission, the procedure is quite similar, and we have, using the other equation 3.2, the transition probability for omega A going to B plus gamma is equal to twice pi omega squared into d omega into E squared divided by m squared into 2 omega and 2 pi cubed all in the denominator, multiplied by nk lambda plus 1, and matrix element of between b and a of exponential I k dot x into p dot epsilon, whole thing squared. This is equal to e squared omega d capital omega divided by 8 pi squared by m squared multiplied by nk lambda plus 1 and the same matrix element whole squared. Spontaneous emission in dipole approximation. In spontaneous emission, there is no radiation present initially, and in the absence of any initial radiation, namely nk lambda equal to 0, the transition probability per unit time into the solid angle d omega is given by omega spontaneous, this is the transition probability spontaneous, is equal to transition probability for A going to B plus gamma with the proviso that nk lambda is now equal to 0. This is equal to e squared into omega d capital omega divided by 8 pi squared by m squared into the matrix element whole squared, where of course nk lambda has been put now equal to 0. As explained in the introduction, using dipole approximation, we can put exponential minus I k vector dot x vector is equal to 1. That is, we take only the first term of this exponential. Thus, omega spontaneous is equal to e squared omega d capital omega by 8 pi squared by m squared, matrix element between b and a of p vector dot epsilon vector, the whole matrix element whole squared. Dipole approximation. When the wavelength of the emitting photon, which has got a momentum k vector and a polarization lambda, when the wavelength of this photon is much larger than the range r, we may use the equation 4.2 for the transition probability. Namely, we can use the dipole approximation. We can simplify this equation further by the following procedure. From uncertainty relation, we have commutator of px and x is equal to minus I, and commutator of py and x is 0, and pz and x is also 0. This gives commutator of px squared with x is equal to p squared x minus xpx squared, which is equal to p squared x minus px into xpx plus px into xpx minus xpx squared, which gives us px into commutator of pxx minus xpx plus pxx minus xpx into px. So this simplifies to px commutator of px and x plus commutator of px and x multiplied by px minus ipx, which gives us minus twice ipx, and so the commutator of px squared with x is equal to minus twice ipx. Proceeding in the same way, we can show that p vector squared into x vector is equal to minus 2i of p vector. That is, the relation holds for x, y, and z separately. Now 2m into p vector squared by 2m, commutator with x vector, is equal to minus i2 vector, or p vector is equal to 2m by minus 2i into commutator of h0 and x vector, which is equal to im into h0 into x vector, where h0 is the free Hamiltonian. Thus, the matrix element of p vector between the states b and a is equal to m into I into matrix element between b and a of h0 x vector commutator, which is equal to plus im into matrix element between b and a of h0 x vector minus x vector h0, which, if we operate on the sides with the h0, gives us im into eb minus ea of the matrix element of x vector between b and a, which is equal to minus im omega and the matrix element between b and a, because we are assuming that the energy between the state A and the state B is given by omega. Thus, from 4.2, we get the spontaneous transition probability between A and B plus gamma is given by e squared m squared into omega cubed divided by 8 pi squared m squared d capital omega, matrix element between b and a of x dot epsilon, the whole thing squared. Now, let us take the k vector along the z-axis and let the x vector make an angle theta with respect to the k vector axis. Please look at the figure below. As epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 polarization vectors are in the xy plane, let us choose them along the x-axis and the y-axis respectively. This is what, as we saw in the earlier modules, gives us the right-handed coordinate system. And therefore, x vector dot epsilon 1 vector is equal to x vector mod cos theta 1 which is equal to x vector into sine theta cos phi. And x vector into epsilon 2 vector, x vector dotted is epsilon 2 vector, is given by x vector mod cos theta 2, which is equal to x vector into sine theta and sine phi. Therefore, summing over polarization gives us cos squared theta lambda summed over lambda is equal to cos squared theta 1 plus cos squared theta 2, which is equal to sine squared theta. Thus, the probability for A going to B plus gamma is equal to E squared omega cubed by 8 pi squared matrix element of x vector between B and A whole squared into cos squared theta lambda d omega. Integrating over angles and summing over polarizations, we get omega A going to B plus gamma is equal to E squared omega cubed by 8 pi squared matrix element B x vector A whole squared, and integral over the angle d cos theta and d phi, and summed over cos squared theta lambda over polarizations. The integral, we get E squared omega cubed 8 pi squared matrix element squared 2 pi into the integral, and the whole thing then becomes E squared omega cubed by 3 pi multiplying the matrix element of x vector between B and A whole squared. Thus, the total energy radiated divided by time is equal to omega times the transition probability into time, which is equal to E squared omega 4 by 3 pi into x vector matrix element BA whole squared. The classical formula for radiated energy of an electron: classically, a charged particle emits radiation when it is accelerated. The classical formula is S classical is equal to 2 by 3c cubed into E squared f squared, where f is the acceleration of the electron, E is of course the electronic charge. An electron gets accelerated due to the presence of the electromagnetic radiation of energy omega and polarization epsilon 2 vector. The acceleration of the electron in the presence of the electromagnetic field will be x double prime, whose modulus is equal to omega squared into x vector. Classically, the energy radiated by the electron is given, we again put c equal to 1, the S classical is equal to 2 by 3 E squared into x double prime whole squared. In our units, E squared is E squared by 4 pi. So S classical, or the total energy classically radiated, is equal to 2 by 3 into E squared by 4 pi into x double dot whole squared. Or this is equal to 2 by 3 E squared by 4 pi into omega 4 into x double dot whole squared. Comparing 410 and 412, we get twice x BA vector whole squared is equal to x vector squared. So this gives us some idea of the relationship between the matrix element and the original x double dot whole squared. Natural units, Compton wavelength. In classical mechanics, we normally work with 3 independent units: length, time and mass. All physical quantities are made up of these 3 basic units. Thus, velocity is length divided by time, like centimeter per second, which is equal to L divided by time. Angle is arc divided by radius, or L divided by t, so it has no dimensions or units. Momentum is mass into velocity, and so is given by mass into length divided by time, or we can write it as m into L divided by t. Angular momentum is m into velocity v into radius r, which is capital M into L divided by t into L, so it is m into L squared divided by t. It is also equal to m r d theta by dt, which is equal to m L squared divided by t. As one gets more physical quantities, one introduces other units, the electric charge, temperature and so on. For atoms with nuclear charge Ze, the energy level is multiplied by Z squared. So the electron in helium is much stronger, 54.4 eV. We shall use some of these values in the next module. Often mass of electron or proton is quoted in MeV. There is no mass. This is not a mass, but it's an energy unit. the rest mass is multiplied by c squared to get the energy unit. So if energy unit is used to get length, we have to multiply by h cross c. For masses, we multiply by h cross by c. Energy units are often more convenient to use than mass units. In quantum field theory, we use what are called natural units. So it is a good idea to discuss what are natural units. There is only one fundamental unit or dimension which we normally take to be unit of mass of energy. The other two units are taken as h cross and c equal to 1. The unit of length and time are therefore to be defined by taking h cross equal to 1 and c equal to 1. The only unit that has to be introduced from outside for every problem is that of mass. Working with natural units considerably simplifies calculations, but it requires some practice. We first calculate Compton wavelength of an electron, lambda c, to get an idea of how we go about it. Lambda c is defined as h by mc, which is equal to 2 pi into h cross by mc, because h cross is h by 2 pi. In the centimeter gram second system or the CGS system, lambda c is equal to 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 27 ergs second divided by 9 into 10 raised to minus 28 grams into 3 into 10 raised to 10 centimeters per second in the denominator, which gives us 2.43 into 10 raised to minus 10 centimeters. If we want the length corresponding to 1 over me, then we need h cross by mc, which is lambda c over 2 pi is equal to 3.86 into 10 raised to minus 11 centimeter. If we want the time corresponding to this, we have to divide by c, which is length by time. This time, which is the time taken by light to cross lambda c over 2 pi, is equal to 1.29 into 10 raised to minus 21 seconds. We have taken h cross and c in CGS units. For meter kilogram second or MKS units, we have to take the values h is equal to 6.6 into 10 raised to minus 34 times capital J, namely joules second, and c is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 meters per second. H is in terms of joule seconds and c is in terms of meters per second. We shall mostly use CGS units. Hydrogen spectral energy value or binding energy. The energy of hydrogen levels in the lowest approximation depend only on n quantum number and are given by alpha squared into m by 2n squared. For n equal to 1, the closest bound electron, the value is alpha squared m by 2, which has the value 0.511 MeV divided by 1.877 into 10 raised to power into 2, which gives us 0.136 into 10 raised to minus 4 MeV, which is equal to 13.6 electron volts. As alpha is 1 over 137. The binding energy for n equal to 2 is 1/4 of that. Of n equal to 1 is 3.4 eV, much smaller. The level difference between n equal to 2 and n equal to 1 level is alpha squared m by 2 into 1 minus 1 by 4, which is 3 alpha squared m by 8, which is equal to 3 by 4 into 3.6 or 10.2 electron volts. So students, let us summarize what we have learnt in this module. We have obtained the matrix elements for the absorption and emission of light by electrons in atoms using the plane wave expansion for the vector potential and identifying the number eigenstates. In the case of emission, there is emission even in the absence of radiations, that is, even when nk is equal to 0. This is called spontaneous emission and was first identified by Einstein, as we shall discuss later in another module. We then express the matrix element in the dipole approximation, where it becomes the expectation value of x vector. We recall the classical expression for radiation by an accelerated electron and compare it with the dipole approximation expression. Finally, we discussed how to work in natural units with h cross and c both being equal to 1. Thank you so much.